welcome back to Beyond Surface Level. My name is Bea, and for this week's episode, I'm really excited because this was actually suggested by the person who would be on the podcast today. She told me that, she had this idea that maybe I could talk about this specific topic, and I thought to myself that, oh, wait, since she was the one who suggested it, why not bring her over and have her as the guest? And so this person is a student leader. She was my batchmate back in high school, and I've known her for around 3 years already. She's a really, really good person, and she uses her platform for the greater good. So I'm really excited for you guys to know more about her and to get to know her. So I'll let her introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Tal. I'm a 46YP student. Don't really ask me what the 46YP is because it's super complicated. In University of Asia and the Pacific, I'm taking up Master of Arts in Communication, major in Integrated Marketing Communications, and what else? I guess I can say that I'm a pretty active student in my school. I'm actually part of organizations and committees, and Bea and I used to work together for the ua&p merchandising committee, which I'm now taking care of.
Wow, okay. You know what, guys? Okay, so just to give you a bit of a ua&p crash course. Wow. But so Tal mentioned that she's part of the 6YP program. So we were actually batchmates a year ago, right?
Yeah.
Just a year ago. Yeah,
Or 2 years. Yeah.
2 years now?
2 years ago.
Oh, okay.
It started 2 years ago, I think.
We were batchmates in ua&p under the 6-year program. So we were also blockmates during my last year in ua&p because in ua&p, the senior high is kind of like, how would you say it? Parang it's connected to like a college program. It's like a ladderized thing, but that's super unique to ua&p.
Yeah.
So that is now.
Right now, yeah, I can't really, when people ask me like what year I am in, I can't really answer that because am I a 4th-year student or am I a 2nd-year student?
Yeah.
But our profs now are currently addressing us as 3rd-year students. So I don't know what to call myself now.
Okay, wait. So if you guys are 3rd year now, you're kind of like juniors, right? Because after the coming school year, like the one for the next year, that will be like your last year in undergrad, and then after that,
the majors na. Yeah, masters.
Oh, okay, wow. Oh, Tal also mentioned that we work together under ua&p's merchandising committee, and that's actually true.
Yep.
So were you the secretary back when we were in 12th grade, or what was your position?
Yeah, actually, I was the secretary. I was part of core.
Okay, see, wow, guys, you can see how active and responsible she is because we were just in 12th grade or to a 6YP, and she was also already part of the main like executive board for that organization. So, wow. Okay, aside from that, also, like since you're now leading MerchCom, how are you guys adjusting to the new normal or like the online setting? Are you allowed to like share a bit about that?
Yeah,
like,
of course. Because I think on our part, it's not as hard as the other committees and organizations because we can still use our platform to our advantage. Like, for example, we can still sell merchandise online. We can still promote Tone to Spirit online. Like, what other orgs are in ua&p? Like, for example, the fresh start, like orientation. It's super hard for them to come up with a new system that addresses all the issues. Like, how are you gonna cater to 100 plus students on Zoom? Like, how are you gonna do the team building and stuff? So I guess I'm not gonna say that for our organization or specifically for MerchCom, it's harder, but I'm gonna say that it's more challenging because saying that it's harder entails with it a negative thought. You feel, but yeah.
Miss Tal, queen of positivity.
Yes, we need positivity now.
But okay, so grabe, like I really applaud what you guys have done in MerchCom, specifically the campaign that you had recently, that's kind of related to an issue that came about. So would you like to talk about that now? Or
yeah, I guess we can talk about it now. Is this about the rapist rape and Iha Ako?
Yeah, that one, the campaign that you guys had for Merch.
Well, actually, I talked to my bored about that because it's really a sensitive topic, and it's hard to just to randomly talk about it on the internet because
True.
there might be backlash or something. So actually weeks before that, I attended a webinar. I know you've also been attending webinars from Kids for Kids.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we also attended the about the thing about child trafficking.
Oh, I think I saw that on your IG story with
Yeah,
Risa Ontiveros, right?
yeah, with
Was it that one?
Miss Risa Ontiveros was there and Mr. Anthony Pangilinan.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I attended one of
Yeah,
his talks then.
yeah, it's super enlightening. But
Agree.
we talked about how the Philippines is actually the number one hotspot of child trafficking. Like I didn't know that before. Especially during the lockdown, the numbers have increased, and I saw on Twitter the same week that they have been selling like photos and videos of children, and that really became like a warning for me. Like this is really happening, and we have to do something about it. And since we have an a platform like for merch, and um the board is really on with it naman, like they agree na okay, we have to do this because in ua&p it's also happening, which is
Yeah, I
a
saw
bad
that.
thing. So we came up with the idea to launch like a poster that shows different types of clothes with the merch. It's kind of
Yeah,
a
I saw that
marketing,
one.
yeah, with the merch that it's kind of like saying that no matter what clothes you wear, um, it's not us saying yes to you. It's not like our
That's
consent.
true. That's
Yeah,
true. Because I feel like lots of people usually connect the two things to each other. Now, oh,
yeah,
like if something happens to you, the first thing that you're gonna ask would be, "Oh, what were you wearing when that happened?" And lots of people keep
yeah.
doing that even until
I
now. Like
know.
after all of these years of people still like speaking up about it, and so many campaigns showing that clothes aren't like, connected to rape, people still blame the victims for it.
Yeah, like I saw one of the posts. Like this guy is fighting for what he believes in, and what he believes in is that if girls are wearing like, for example, underwear lang, then that's the girl saying yes because that's the same thing as like wearing a bikini. But the thing is, when girls wear bikini, it means that we're confident or comfortable with what we're showing.
You know, people on the internet are weird, and the
And
internet can be a
scary.
very, very toxic place. Do you
Yeah,
agree? Because for me
I
personally, I
super
feel like
agree.
lots of people on the internet can be really messed up. But I'm
Yeah,
glad also that lots of people are now using their platforms to really speak up about important issues such as this, and they're really using their voice to, I guess, like push other people or to
yeah,
encourage them to really speak up and to hold these people accountable, to hold these predators or sexual perpetrators accountable
yeah,
for what they're doing. Because really, I guess before it was such a taboo topic to be
yeah,
talked about. Like people wouldn't really outright talk about like negative experiences that they've had,
yeah,
which is really sad. And then some people would just downplay those experiences of theirs. But then, it's really important that they're given the chance to talk about it. Because and I guess how would these men know that what they're doing is wrong? How do they really learn if they're not held accountable for what they're
yeah.
doing? And I mean, it's just like basic human decency to respect other
I
people.
know.
And
And
I don't get why it's so hard for them.
yeah, and it's not only for women. Like there are also men who are being oppressed. So it's
True,
respect not only for women, but for respecting people and seeing them as human. So
exactly. It's just be basic human. It's be decent lang in general. Just show respect to everyone. It's not hard.
yeah,
So
true.
okay, you also wait. Moving from that topic, you also mentioned that you've joined webinars under Kids for Kids. So
Mm.
aside from Merch, what other organizations are you part of or do you work with?
Right now so yeah, merchandising committee. I'm currently part of the project management team for
UNP
UANP,
also.
and that's a bit harder. Our tasks are a bit harder to do because mostly it's in person. And I actually volunteered for ua&p SOS.
What is ua&p SOS?
Since talking about like the Iha Ako movement, and the issues that has been brought up in ua&p SOS is kind of like an initiative from the alumni. We have been sending letters to the admin about like the harassment, sexual harassment for the students, and we have been appealing to them to do certain investigations because it has really happened, and we're not sure if it only happened to that specific student or if it happened to a numerous numbers of students. And so in ua&p SOS, it actually got a lot of engagement, not only from the people in ua&p. It I think it reached Rappler or something.
Hmm.
Yeah, there was an article about it on Rappler, like sexual harassment between the students and the teachers are happening and stuff. So I volunteered for that one because it's kind of connected to what we initially had planned with merch. And I asked also my board members if they wanted to join because the more people can help, then the more people that we can help. And yeah, ua&p SOS, we have been working with that, and we also have been partnering with organizations that can provide what do you call this, counseling to those that have been oppressed, like Call to Rescue Philippines. We have been talking with them, like what should we do with these students? How can we properly help them? Because we can't just like go to these students and ask them, oh, do you want our help? Do you want our help? They need to be able to want our help for us to help them. So it's that one is ua&p SOS. And what else? The other thing that I've been working on is actually Child Hope Philippines. Should I talk about
Oh,
that now?
yeah, go with that.
Child Hope Philippines is also about children of our nation, and it's mostly focused on giving or giving basic necessities to the street children and their families. And I think by the time that you're gonna be releasing this, we've already reached our target. So I'm really happy about that.
That's good.
Yeah,
Congrats,
we were
congrats.
able to help around 35 families, like for one whole week, and that's super refreshing to hear because um like from our side, we're privileged already, and they're the ones who need more help. Like we feel like we need help now, but there are more people who needs extra help. So Child of
Exactly.
Philippines is like an initiative that me and my friends did to maybe kind of take up space because we've also been feeling really helpless about everything that is happening. We feel like we're not doing so much for the society. So that's one thing that we did, like to help even in our own little way.
Because I feel like since we should acknowledge that first and foremost the privilege that we have, and since we are at a much more privileged standpoint, then
Yeah.
what can we do with this privilege of ours? Because I feel that it shouldn't be enough now. We're just thankful in general. Na, oh wow, like oh, I'm feeling positive now.
Yeah.
Oh, but then what will you do with that like appreciation that you like this newfound appreciation that you've had, or like what would you do with that privilege of yours? Will you just like acknowledge it and not do anything
Yeah.
about it, or actually step up and try to help others even in your own little way?
Yeah.
So it's really good that you're using your platform, you're using
Thank
social media and online to help others and to make a change.
you.
So,
And we're really trying our
no,
best to make a change though.
it's tough right now in the world we're living in, but it's good seeing, I guess, a lot more people who are really lending a helping hand and doing whatever they can.
Honestly, I think one of the things that we can see because of the pandemic, because of the virus and all the problems that has been happening in the country for months, people have their people have their eyes now open, like to a system that has been embellished for years on, and embellished because it has always been broken, but we had a hard time to see that it's broken. It's such a deep thing to say, but um, yeah. But yeah, people have been helping now, and a lot of people have been voicing up on social media also.
Exactly, exactly. Like, it's sad that a pandemic had to happen for all of us to have all these realizations.
Yeah.
It's good that lots of people are really using their
Yeah.
platforms now. And going back to like the topic of how lots of people are now speaking up about negative experiences that they've had with school officials or in school, like it's sad that these things have happened because school is supposed to be like a safe space for us,
Yeah.
for the students, and then all of these issues are suddenly coming to light and shows us that there really has to be something done and system
Yeah.
really needs to be changed. So, okay, going back to like the internet and social media, and we did mention that the internet can be a weird and toxic place, I guess, to be in. So, for you personally, like, how do you deal with social media and its effects on you? And we know already, like, how you use social media to your
Yeah.
advantage, and it's really obvious with the things that you do that you use it as your platform to help others and to speak up. But how do you deal with social media in general?
Um. Well, social media, yeah, like what we've said, it's actually a scary thing to talk about now, especially in the Philippines. Of course, it has its own disadvantages and advantages, and dealing with social media is one thing, but dealing with people on social media is another. Like both
True.
have similarities, but both have different intensities. Like when we say we're dealing with social media, it's more of like a self improvement, or like it's more of like working with ourselves. But dealing with people online is working with the other people on the other side of the screen. I guess I'm dealing because dealing with social media is kind of hard because you have to know which things you have to accept and which things you don't have to accept, because that can affect how you do your way of life at the end of the day. And before, actually, I have a kwento, Lindsay. Before I social media, I'm super active in social media, but I deleted, especially Twitter, I deleted all my tweets because I have been so. I feel like I was a war freak. Like I've never told anyone that. You know your podcast.
I was like, oh, do it
I
now.
know, right?
Let's go. Okay, for the listeners and whoever's tuned
Yeah,
in right
dude.
now, Tal is one of the like. She looks like she's such a pure and really nice person, like just a kind-hearted person.
Aw.
So I never expected you to, like have a war freak side or like and from the past.
Well, it was a long journey for me. But then anyway, yeah, it was like a few years back before ua&p, maybe like third year high school, junior year in high school. I keep fighting people on the internet. Like I was wasting my time fighting people on the internet. And there was actually a backstory. I don't know if I can say that. But there was this girl who has been fighting me, or had been fighting me because it's done now. And she has been fighting me because I might sound cocky,
Crystal.
but because her crush has a crush on me, which is such a petty topic. It's such a petty topic to fight about, right? Especially on the internet. And what I did was I talked to her. Like I told her, "Oh, you're not doing the right thing by fighting with me and stuff." But in some way, I corrected her by doing the bad thing as well. Like that's what happening mostly in social media now. When people, like for example, cancel culture. When someone does something wrong and our culture doesn't accept it as right, we tend to correct that person by doing the wrong things. Like for example, bullying. This person has been engaged in bullying, with a bullying issue, and people on the internet, what they did is they bullied this person so that he will be embarrassed. So I read a thing about that. It's about in our self righteousness, in our way of correcting people, we become the very thing we're against. I guess right now I'm not like that anymore. I'm not a war freak, and I would like to say if the person who's who if the person who tweeted that was watching this, I would say sorry. But I guess dealing with we have to deal with social media by accepting reality as it is. It's such a vague thing to say, but I guess that's the simplest way I can explain it. Not only social media, like but life in general. We have to accept reality as it is. Like there are certain instances that we have to accept that we're also wrong, and other people have the right to correct us. But at the same time, we also have to accept the reality that not everything on social media is good for ourselves or like good for everyone else.
When you call out a person, it's usually for that person to really, like, I guess,
Yeah,
be aware of the gravity of his or her actions. And usually, I guess what people do first before that is they'd reach out to that person privately. But then, if reaching out to that person privately still doesn't work, then I guess that's when they resort to calling out that person. Because usually, like, most of the people who get involved in that, then, like, the ones who get called out, like, they wouldn't really say sorry
yeah,
until you call them out publicly. So I feel that calling out other people usually becomes like the last resort for people who really want, like,
yeah,
accountability for the other person's
yeah,
actions. Because like some people can be like really hard to deal with, and like you wouldn't be able to really get to them unless you call them
yeah,
out and bring the issue publicly, which is
yeah. I guess calling out people um is the right thing to do, but canceling people out is not, because you're not giving them the opportunity to change what they did wrong. You're not giving them the opportunity to improve or work on their thoughts, their ideas, and how they use
true.
social media to their advantage.
So now that you've mentioned also like your experiences online, have you experienced personally getting any online backlash? And if so, how did you get through it, or what did you do about it?
Um, well, of course, I had social media backlash because I myself was giving people backlash. And I think I got through it by learning from it, obviously. I think that's the basic thing to answer it. And because the past has already been in the past, like you can't do anything about that. And what you can only do now is to either, you know, I learned this from Kung Fu Panda, right? I always see that on memes. Like, the only thing that you can do about the past is to either learn from it or to ignore it. And I think
Agree,
I
agree.
chose to learn from it, because if I ignore it, then I wouldn't be able to know that I'm wrong, or I wouldn't be able to
True.
know that I'm hurting the other people, or um, I'm doing something that hurts their feelings, something like that. And it's just really about deciding how you will let it affect you. If you take a backlash negatively, then it will definitely have a negative effect on you. But if you see that backlash as something um for you to improve on, or something for you to develop, then it can be for your advantage. Like, not everything that is negative is bad. You can see negative positively.
I
You
super agree with what you mentioned about like acknowledging like these mistakes that you've had. So I
Yeah,
think yeah, Kay and I talked about that then during the first podcast,
yeah.
and yeah, I super agree with that because like for me personally, like I've done some stuff that I regret in the past, but then what I could do about it now is to really just apart from like acknowledging that it happened and learning from it, like I shouldn't allow it to, I guess, overpower me or to
Yeah,
control who I am now. Because what I can do now is to really just learn from it and to allow myself to grow from that
yeah.
experience.
And because we also have to engage with accountability. Like, we have to engage with
Agree,
the
agree.
people on the internet with accountability and responsibility, that wait, we're not the only human on the internet. There are also people on the other side of the screen who feels the same way, who feels bad, feels sad, happy, and other things. So we have to take into consideration that really have to treat them like how we would want to be treated ourselves.
Agree, agree.
I have a question for you though. This
Go,
is your
go, go.
podcast, but I have a question for you.
Go. Okay,
I
this is the first time
posted
getting a question.
I posted something on Instagram before, and it's about knowing what to do for yourself and knowing what to do for other people on social media. you replied to that. And I think that was one of the reasons I thought about talking about social media on your podcast. You remember that?
Wait, let me check Instagram. Can you check Instagram on your laptop?
I think so. But
Okay, wait.
I
Let me check.
I think it was a note from my phone and it says balance.
I think I remember replying
Yeah.
to one of your stories which is a screenshot of a notes app.
Yeah.
Was that it?
Yeah.
Wait, let me check. Oh, okay. Okay, because like nowadays I see like lots of people who are, I guess, like doing lots of things, but then I think you should always remember your purpose for why you're doing those things, and it should always be in service. Like, for me personally, like it should always be in service for others, and like doing what you can to make a change. I guess to positively influence other people.
Yeah, talking about balancing what we do for ourselves and what we do for others, we're not saying that it's not right to prioritize our needs or what we want to do. But what we're saying is that um, we also have to take into consideration that what we do has an impact on other people, and we have to make sure that what we do is impacting them in the best way possible. Because at the end of the day, if we're just doing things for the sake of our own happiness or for the sake of our own necessity without having an influence to them, then it doesn't really matter what we're doing. Like, even if you only have it's not even about the number of followers that you have on social media. Like, even if you have like one or two, it still matters what you do and how it is affecting them. And this is what I always think about. I just thought about it now. Like, the number of followers you have on social media doesn't matter because Jesus only had 12. Right?
I agree.
So that was that one. So we still have to think about what we do for ourselves while thinking about how it will affect other people.
True. And like what you do with your influence, and like even if you have 2 to 3 followers, I guess what matters more is that how you've impacted that person's life, and if you've left like a positive influence or positive mark on them. So that is it for that specific part. And for Tal's question, so okay, before we end the podcast, to wrap things up, if you have any closing remarks or just anything that you want to leave with the listeners before we end the podcast.
Um, I guess what I can say, like, to everyone on the internet or for everyone in life in general, it's to really take up space. To take up space in your school, in your community, in the society, because taking up space is really important because we get to let other people know what we feel and what we believe in while knowing that it's also right, because believing in something is not enough, but knowing that it's right or it's beneficial not only for ourselves but for other people, then that's something that can affect other people the best way possible. And I think I'm gonna end this with like a note from one of the webinars that I attended, and um it's really a great lesson. It's an abbreviation called self-care, and S stands for stop being unaware. E is for engage with accountability. L is to learn and relearn. F, face the fact that it's toxic. Social media is really a toxic place. C, contact those who know and care. Like, engage with people you trust, who you trust. Engage with people who you trust. A is act and be acted upon. R is respect. Respond. R is respond, don't react. Because reacting is simply doing things without thinking about it. And E is to embrace your calling. Embrace your calling that you're on social media for a reason and you're in this world for a reason. It's not only about the negative things, it's also about seeing the negative things positively.
Agree.
Self care.
I love that. I love that self care acronym abbreviation that you brought up. And yeah, I super agree with the part of like learning as well from other people.
Yeah.
And you mentioned this earlier, but to just learn
Yeah,
and relearn.
learn and
Relearn.
relearn.
Okay, so before we formally end the podcast, do you have anything to plug? This is your chance. Like if you want to plug your social media or any initiative, go for it.
I don't really have any uh, social media to plug, but we still have the donations ongoing for Child of Philippines. We're accepting donations until the end of July, July 31. And we're accepting any amount. No amount is too small. And any help would be appreciated just by sharing it or donating. And yeah, I hope that you can help us spread our message of hope to other people and help us help these three children and their families.
Okay, I love it. Thank you so much, Tal. This was such a good talk, and I hope that the listeners out there also learned a thing or two from Tal in this episode. And if you guys have any further questions or any insights regarding the topics that we've covered, feel free to either comment them down below, or if you're watching on YouTube, or you could message us over at Beyond Surface Level on Instagram. So that's at Beyond Surface LVL. It's level minus the two E's. And you can also email us over at email.beyondsurfacelvl@gmail.com. Thank you so much again for tuning in this week, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Bye.